And you had let us know that part of the agenda of this trip was going to be riding a Segway. Like you were 209 years old.
Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Lia, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Lia. How are you?
It's been a minute.
I know.
You and, well, actually, neither of us were around last week. We both dogged Amy.
I know, poor Amy.
Have we ever done that where we've only had one host?
I don't think so. So I am sorry for that, but Amy and Megan held it down. I was able to listen to the beginning. I didn't have time to listen to the whole podcast today, but I did listen to like the beginning of it. And yeah, they did a great job. And so thank you to both of you for holding it down while Leah and I were off gallivanting on our travels.
Yeah, so, okay, we're not going to belabor our whole pod with our travels, but we both went to objectively fun places.
Well, let's talk about Seoul. That's what everyone wants to hear about.
I disagree. I think people want to hear about the Segway in Sonoma, but we can do both. We're covering both.
Well, first of all, let's say there will be, well, if you join our Patreon, Leo, there'll be a podcast up with more like in-depth notes about Leah's Seoul trip. And I think Afternoona Asks is also going to have an interview with Leah about Seoul. So like we will be we will probably be mentioning her trip every podcast, like
for the rest of time.
So if you're already sick of it too freaking bad,
I'll be like, how do you say in English? I've forgotten because my trip has enculturated me so much.
I only write in Hangul now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we decided we're going to ask each other a few questions.
Yes.
About each other's trips. So this is actually my question. I have heard that Seoul has just really cool cafes. Like that is like the thing. So, and a lot of them are themed. So I guess, can you tell me about kind of like your like, I really do want to know this. I want to hear about kind of like your favorite cafe. And I have to know what you ordered as well. You and your daughter.
So spoiler.
Okay.
So my daughter said, I really want to go to an animal cafe. All I want to do is go to an animal cafe. My top desire in life is to go to an animal cafe.
Okay.
You know me and animals. I was kind of like, I really could care less, but you know what? Sure. Okay. So we decided that we would do a sheep cafe in Hongdae. There's like 2 sheep on the premises.
Wait, they're real animals?
Real animals. There was like a raccoon cafe, a meerkat cafe, plenty of so many cat cafes, so many dog cafes. And
oh my God.
Very aesthetically beautiful cafes. And let me just also preface to say that kitty corner to our hotel was the Maxim plant from like, you know, our paper Maxim coffees, you know, like little like sachets, beautiful cafes everywhere. I went to 0 cafes. But here's why. There's a reason. There's reasons. So I really thought I would be doing more than 0 cafes.
Right.
So the cafes tend to open up at around 10. So we're not talking about like early morning coffee. Like you're not grabbing your coffee and getting up first thing in the morning. And don't at me. I'm sure there's coffee shops that like are open early, but for like a lot of like the aesthetic cool cafes that were especially like around us or places we would be going, 10 was generally the opening time.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that also I was in like a time crunch. Like we were only on the ground in Seoul for 6 days. So by the time 10 o'clock hit, like I was like, I've already been out the door 2 hours, like going for it. So I would get coffee in the convenience store in the morning. I'm not going to throw a lot of shade about trash. We generate plenty of trash here, but there's a lot of single-use plastic. And I used it. So let me also normalize that. But like you could just get like cups of ice, open the top, and then get like bags of different flavors of iced coffee or no flavor at all, pop it in. That could be like, you know, your grab and go breakfast. So I was tending to do that for coffee. Mm-hmm. And then as the day went on, we would just be busy doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. And even when we went to Hongdae, like at one point my daughter was like, shopaholic city. Like she had just gotten like the shopping like bug on. Yeah. And it was my color palette, honestly. Like, there's a lot of beige and neutral colors in a lot of these shops. So, like, I'd be like, okay, we're going to another beige shop. Great. And so at some point I'm like, do you want to, like, hit pause and go find some of these cafes? And she was like, must keep looking at tiny sweaters. And I was like, okay, like, this is a choice. We all make choices. So unfortunately, I went to 0 cute aesthetic cafes. There was one really close to us. So we stayed right on the border of Itaewon and Hanam. And really close to us on the Hanam side is a cafe called One in a Million that I've, like, seen, like, you know, some K-pop stars, like Baekhyun from EXO has, like, done tours of it. Like, it's just kind of like a cute place that I've seen, like, famous-y people at. That was, like, half a block from us. And there were a few times where I'd be like, oh, I want to go over and, like, do that. But, like, sometimes I'd go by and be like 9, and then I'm like, oh, I don't really want to, like, coffee out at, like, 9 because I kind of need to also try to sleep a little bit. So, yeah, it just ended up not being a thing for me. No cafes. Spoiler.
That's fair. You already told me more than I knew, because I did not know that animal cafes were a thing. I didn't know that I would find, like, 2 sheep at a cafe.
Wait till you can go to the cat cafes where you can adopt the cats at the cafes too.
So, totally off topic, and no one steal this idea. Okay? I'm going to trademark it or something. No one steal my idea. But my goal in life is to open up a bookstore that has cats and also sells pies. And I'm going to call it Pages, Pies, and Purrs.
I think you're going to say Pages, Pies, and Pussy.
Oh. I mean, the order changes every day. Because sometimes I'm like, well, maybe Pies, Pauls, and Pages is better. But I think about this all the time. That's my goal in life, is to do that. Just saying. Just putting that out there. So
and I support you on that.
Thank you. So what was your favorite K-drama location that you visited? Because you did a few, didn't you?
I did do a few. Okay. I've got to look up the proper... No, I've got to look up the proper name because I was really proud of this location. Okay. And for whatever reason, it did not disappoint because I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that because it had an actual
that's
name to it. Okay. So I went to the Sinchon Graffiti Tunnel. And this one I want to talk about because this is, like, the famous passenger tunnel from Goblin.
Yeah.
And, you know, we see them do, like, the walk with the leaks and, like, the cart drives through and is like, punks. And they're like, is it a Happy New Year? And they're, like, waving and it's really funny.
With their great coats.
Yeah. So we were in Hongdae and I was like, I want to go see this tunnel. It's close enough, but, like, you know, it's another subway stop and I'll have to kind of figure it out. I don't know. And so, I decided to go for it, but it was, like, getting dark when I decided to go do it. So by the time we got out of the subway to get near the part, like, to near where the tunnel was, it was pretty much pitch black. And I live in California where, you know, I'm not going to say it's, like, unsafe, but I'd say that there's, like, a lot of people who, like, are making their homes on the streets. And a tunnel would be, like, prime real estate to, like, call your home. So I was kind of like, I'm not sure what we're going to find. Let's not get our hopes up. Let's just, like, see what we're going to find. Mm-hmm. So we walk through this cute neighborhood and we're really in, like, kind of like university mecca, right? Like, just tons and tons of universities around. One thing I really appreciated, and again, like, I don't want to, like, other this. I'm just saying observations. Like, I'm not trying to, like, call it out as, like, weird or different, but it's just things that are, like, slightly different to, like, how we do things. So one thing that kind of got me was that letter jackets for universities are a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do always see them in K-dramas. Yeah.
And so it's a total thing. And so like, on our way to the tunnel, I saw a ton of, like, Yonsei University, like, letter jackets. Oh. So, like, one of the Sky universities. And then, like, your major is embroidered. So it'd be, like, medical sciences or whatever. Cool. Like, you know, so you could see, like, what they studied as well. And I don't know, it was just kind of a cute, like, I was like...
I like it.
Yeah. So we were walking and... it stayed pretty bright, and then we got to where the tunnel was, and the tunnel was awesome. It's, like, super graffitied out, very lit, and folks are just going through it all the time. Because I was like, I'm going to walk through it, and I'm going to put, like, the Goblin theme song on. My sister, my daughter was like, oh my god, I'm going to die if you do this. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I'm totally doing it. So I'm like walking through playing it. And she's like, there's people coming, turn it off right now. And I'm like, okay. But one thing I will say is that how they show it in the movie or in the show is like they're coming through and then the motorbike comes from behind. Mm-hmm. If that happened from the angle that they were walking, that motorbike could still do it, but it would have had to go down a set of stairs to do that.
Oh, I see. I like it. They set it up. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But I don't know why, but that just felt like a very, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, like, I like felt like I had a moment sitting there with that tunnel.
Yes, of course. And Amy was so excited. She loved it. And you had a bag. You were like holding a bag.
Yeah.
Like
I had my shopping bag. It was awesome.
I love it.
Okay. Should I ask you 2 questions?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. So, I'm going to ask about the Segway.
Yeah, well, just a reminder, I was in Sonoma Valley and a little bit in Napa, which is in California. Yeah. That's where I was for about 5 days.
And you had let us know that part of the agenda of this trip was going to be riding a Segway. Like, you were 209 years old. So what were you expecting the Segway to be like? And how did that expectation match reality?
Yeah, so I didn't really know what to expect. I expected it to be very difficult. I expected to be terrified the whole time. I really, truly did. I expected to be feeling like I could fall at any moment. Like, truly, I had visions of a broken, like, wrist or something, and my best friend, first of all, this was her idea, which I didn't realize. And we were the youngest by about 20 years. Over 20 years. We're like the youngest people.
Of all the Segwayers you saw, or just your group?
Just in our group. And our group was like all of us. We all stayed in like the same house because it was a birthday party for my friend's stepdad. So it was like all of us it was like a private group or whatever. So I was really nervous. And before we got on them, my friend's like, I'm just saying, like, if I gotta take you to hospital, like, I'm leaving you in California. I gotta go home on Sunday. So you better not fall. I was like, oh, shit. She's gonna leave me here. And so the instructor is, like, giving us instructions on how to ride the Segway, and it sounds very confusing. And I'm like, my friend and I look at each other and we're like, oh, shit. Like, we are gonna die. But there is luckily where we were it was like in this neighborhood. There was just like a bunch of houses and then like a parking lot.
Okay.
So we had this whole parking lot to practice in. And as soon as I stepped up on it and I did like a few little like test things, I actually found it really easy and really fun. So I'll say this, it's more intuitive than you think. It's you lean forward to go forward, you lean back to go back, which I know people do know that about Segways, but you think it's going to be harder, and it's truly not. It's truly pretty simple. It's mounting and dismounting was like the hardest thing to do, but even that was fine.
What speeds did you get up to?
I don't know, man. I tried to like go pretty fast a couple times, and I got to the point too where I was like holding it with one hand and taking videos with the other of like what we were passing. We went through like, old Sonoma neighborhoods, which was really cool. And then obviously we were like these narrow roads leading to wineries and stuff like that. So it was easier than I expected, believe it or not. And I did not fall. No one fell on my group. Thank God. No one got hurt. Not even a scratch. And it worked out well. It was a lot of fun.
Did you feel embarrassed?
I did feel stupid. Like, do you know? I mean, it's the dumbest look. It is.
I know what it looks like. I just never see anyone. Like, they don't have them. Cool. Well, and they just don't have them places I haven't like been around being like, oh, well, there's the Segways. Like, I see them like as like a weird oddity like online sometimes, but I've never actually like seen people like rolling past in their Segway.
Oh no, because you wear a helmet, which yes, trust me, I was gonna wear that helmet. Like, I don't care if I look stupid. It looks dumb. Mm-hmm. No one looks good riding a Segway, and I also didn't care. I felt silly, and I also was like, fuck it. Like,
did anyone point and stare, even though you had no shame?
Yeah, people would deatly stare at us when we rode by because we were like in neighborhoods. They were like people's houses.
So was this a tour group that was like led by someone, or were you like wine touring?
No. So this was led by a tour group, and they took us to a winery, and then we had lunch there, and then they took us to another winery, and in between they would give us little tours of Sonoma. Like,
Okay.
we saw like the town hall and stuff like that, and then we went to like a little cheese shop and tried cheese, and then we went back.
Okay.
That was it. So yeah, it was and my friend and I shared a tasting
Okay.
because they pour you like an ounce and they give you about 4 or 5 glasses of wine. Because I was like, I can't drink a full tasting and then get on a Segway. I will kill myself. Like, it's
I was just curious about like, yeah, drunk segwaying, like what happens?
I know. So yeah, it was like led by a tour guide and everything. And I mean, I can't imagine what their insurance cost is. I do have to say that. Not to like make it boring, but I can't believe I have no idea.
Yeah. What's your insurance policy?
Yeah.
I want to see.
What is your premium? Because yeah, their liability has to be crazy.
All right, and then let's say I feel like you've got some things to say about the region.
Oh, yeah. So I hadn't been to. Let me just say, I had not. I don't count going to the Suga concert as actually going to California because I literally saw nothing.
Yeah,
I saw nothing. Okay, like
yeah, you saw the fog and you thought it was pollution,
right? But that's it. I saw nothing.
Yeah.
So obviously we had to drive from San Francisco airport to our house in like Sonoma, like the house.
And you stayed in Santa Rosa?
Yeah. And so that was about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And I think the thing that struck me most, which like it's just so dry. Everything is so dry. Like there were like cows grazing. I'm like, what are they eating? Because it looks like they're just on dirt.
What in this hellscape are they doing? They're just licking the dirt.
That's what I was like. What are they eating? What is on that ground? Really? So, but it makes me sad because it's not like it's just you need more.
Well,
rain.
actually, I'd say that's fairly normal in terms of it being Mediterranean climate. True. So you're going to go through that period of like a heavy rain in winter. All of that brown turns to green. Right. Dies off in the summer. You're in like the super dry right now, and then you roll back into winter. So that's kind of like the Mediterranean cycle. Yeah,
because it was just so like it was so dry, and really the only green we saw was if it was like a carefully maintained like vineyard property, and that was about it. And so I live in Pennsylvania. Like it is like lush here almost year round. Like we had a little bit of like a period where there was like no rain and our grass was like dying, and everyone in Pennsylvania was like freaking out because it's like it doesn't happen here. I kind of miss the like changing of the leaves and stuff like that. You always miss you always remember things that you like from home. So that was the only thing that just really struck me. It was just so dry, but the vineyards are beautiful. I love the hills. I love being in a place that has mountains and landscapes, and it was stunning. I mean, you would drive and just, you see like the rows of the grape bushes or vines or whatever, and
the vines,
whatever. And it
those
felt
great
like
bushes with the rockology.
I know, and it felt like I felt like I was looking at like a movie.
Nice.
Just these beautiful rows and rows that are like on these hills. Then there's hills behind it, and it's just freaking stunning. It was beautiful. I took so many scenery pictures. That's what you do when you're 40. You take scenery. I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful friggin' scenery. So.
I took pictures of walls. I have many wall pictures because I was really charmed by how like you just go up all these like little side alleys, and then there were like lots of brick or stone walls. I got more wall pictures than anyone needs to see. But I love that. We are like 20 minutes into our chit chat about tripping.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm not sorry. Segwaying is very important, and so is going to Seoul. So,
and now we're gonna go from segways and segue into.
I like that.
So we're gonna talk about some dramas that we're gonna kind of sell each other on today, because you guys always seem to like that, and frankly, I really like doing these episodes because then I just get to talk about dramas that I've seen. Who doesn't? It's the whole point of the podcast.
And also, I think that, like, This year more than any other year, I've been like probably just more of a curmudgeon about not wanting to watch stuff I don't feel like.
Yeah.
And so I think we've done more like solo watching. And I
Yeah.
think that's healthy. Like I've just rationalized it to myself and hopefully to like all of you that this is fun. This is meant to be fun. And if we just like deep dive everything because we have to, like that's a lot of time to take to like have to do something. And if I have to do something over and over, then it's not going to be fun and I'm not going to want to do it. And I want to do this for 100 million years. So I think that we have to chase watching what we like to watch. And I think it can lead to like richer conversations because it's fun to do a deep dive on a single drama for sure. But then that also only benefits the people who have absolutely watched that one drama. Whereas when we can talk about like tropes more widely or, you know, more broader topics, I've been liking doing that as well. And I mean, I think listeners seem to like it too. They've been pretty popular. But I think it allows for us to have more creativity and space in what we want to watch too. So we are going to each talk about 3 dramas. We'll go back and forth. Like, I don't think we need to like monologue and kind of try to sell the other person on, because neither of us have seen the dramas that the other have seen.
Correct.
Okay. So should we list them all or should we surprise as we go?
We can say which 3 we're doing at the beginning because then that can kind of see if. Okay, so I'm actually one of the ones I'm going to talk about is a movie. I'm going to talk about The Ballerina. I'm going to talk about The Worst of Evil and Love to Hate You.
I was going to try to sell you on True Beauty and then I'm like, why? Why would I even try? Like, there's no point in trying to do that.
I actually do want to watch True Beauty. I don't know though. I feel like I actually do kind of want to hear about it because then it would like determine if I watched or not.
So I am going to do a movie as well, and it's called Mood of the Day, and it stars Woo Yeon-suk, who is our, you know, adorable pediatrician from Hospital Playlist and our Bloody Samurai from Mr. Sunshine, and Moon Chae-won. So that's going to be a movie. And then the 2 dramas that I'm going to attempt to sell you on are My Personal Weatherman, which is a Japanese BL. And I am going to try to sell you on Doona.
I cannot wait.
I have a lot of thoughts about.
I'm very excited.
And I'm ready to take on the entire fucking internet over Doona. Like, literally, come at me.
So,
because
I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first, and so you finish with Doona.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about The Ballerina, which I actually didn't intend to watch, but I was on the plane and to California, and I had downloaded it. I think on the off chance that I felt like maybe I would watch it, and I did. Like I was like, I'm in the mood.
And then I did. The end.
And I did. So I had downloaded Ballerina. I was like, yeah, why don't I check out Ballerina? It's like it's not even a full 2 hours. It's like an hour and a half. So I'm like, let me check it out and see what it's like. And so it stars Jun Jong-so, who I've never seen before, at least not anything that like I recognized her from. And then Kim Ji-hoon, which is our Oma, and he's also in Love to Hate You. And has amazing hair in Ballerina, but he is a terrible person in Ballerina. So Ballerina is a classic revenge movie. It is extremely violent. Like, just
So I was thinking it was a movie about how to dance.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. The premise, I can say the premise because it's really not a spoiler because it like says it in the thing, but so Okju that's played by Jun Jong-so. She is kind of like this like mysterious kind of like bodyguard type person. Like she can fight really well. They like show that at the beginning of the movie. And she happens to find an old friend from like high school or some schooling. And her friend's a ballerina. And they don't say in the movie, but I really think that Okju is in love with her. Is in love with her friend.
Okay.
To me, it felt sapphic. And I actually really liked that. I wish they kind of just would have like leaned into it and like given them a romance. Because the lengths Okju will go to for her friend, like that's love. That is love. And it felt a little bit more like romantic love. But anyway, so Ballerina, the ballerina passes away, but she says, please avenge me. And Okju basically spends the entire movie avenging her.
Okay.
And so Kim Ji-hoon is just a terrible, terrible person, but the fight scenes are crazy. 1 million people die. Like, everyone dies. It's like, it's nuts, man. It is nuts. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I'm like on the plane, like squirming and like covering my, I'd be like in my seat, like peeking out. So I guess my thing, it's very violent, and there is references to sexual violence. And kind of like that's shown a little bit on screen too. So just like a warning about that. Kim Ji-hoon at one point wears like a BDSM mask, and he's like shirtless in like leather pants. And I am like, oh my God, but I can't find it attractive because he's like a terrible person. But it was a good time. I would say if you liked My Name, you would like this. I would say it's much less emotional investment than My Name. Well, My Name was a full drama too. If you watched Mask Girl, I would say Ballerina is like in the same genre. Absolutely. Just like kind of badass women making people pay for wronging them. And yeah, that's Ballerina. It's on Netflix, at least in the US.
Okay.
So easy to watch and
So
short.
what
like
is going to be the big selling point for me?
Oh my God, I know. I would say, I think you should see Kim Ji-hoon in this role. I really do, but it's really violent. So I don't know. Well, you're okay with violence.
Yeah, I'm fine with violence. I'm a monster.
I truly think if you want to just watch like a badass woman kicking the shit out of people, I mean, she is incredible. You just want to watch that for an hour and a half. This is perfect. This is perfect. And like she avenges basically like the love of her life, and she succeeds. So like, not to like give a spoiler, but you know, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do my movie. It's called Mood of the Day. Why did I watch this movie? Because I was on Air Premia traveling from LAX to Seoul, and I was a captive audience. I had given my phone to my daughter, who actually watched Love to Hate You. So she was watching that, and I had nothing to do but look at the movies. They had some variety shows that weren't subtitled, and they had one drama called Agency, which I haven't heard of before, and it also was not subtitled. So only the movies were subtitled. So I was like, Mood of the Day it is.
Yeah. And
I started it, and I'm going to say I did not like it immediately. So the premise of it is we have Bae Soo-jung, and she is like your feisty Seoul businesswoman. She works for a cosmetic company because, of course, at the very beginning of the drama, she's like dressed really cute. She's trying to get to work. And out of nowhere, a basketball hits her in the head, and she falls over and like breaks her heel and like ruins her outfit. So she gets put in like a silly outfit with these like ridiculous red velvet shoes. And she has a job to do. She has to take a train to Busan. There's no zombies on this train, though. And so her job is she's got to take a train to Busan because she's trying to sign a top basketball star with the cosmetic company.
okay.
So she gets on the train, and as luck would have it, she's sitting next to a very cute man who is Yoon Yoon-suk. And he is a talent manager for an agency that manages basketball athletes. Coincidence? I don't know. But like, he's like he's just slimy. And so this is what put me off, is he just starts to like lean in with like a lot of like slimy hit on stuff that like just didn't feel fun. I was like, this just feels like boring. And like, I'm like, am I meant to be charmed? Because I'm not. Like, it's kind of gross. Like, you barely know her, and you're basically like, let's go to Busan and like fuck. And I'm like, okay. And I like turned it off for a while and like tried to watch some other stuff. And I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to finish this stupid movie. That's when it all changed for me. So anyway, so they take the train.
I love it.
She realizes on the train down that he's going to meet the same basketball player she's trying to get to sign. And so that's their forced proximity. So they've got their forced proximity in the train, and then then they have to be on this like adventure together. She has a boyfriend that she's been with for 10 years. He is looking to just like fuck her. And she's like, no, Like, what's the point? I've got a boyfriend. I'm committed to my boyfriend. And as you go throughout the day, of course, like, they connect more, and you start to realize that, like, her relationship's really going nowhere, and, like, she's been kind of leaving it on the line for this dude for, like, kind of no real reason. And Mr. Charmy, sexy, smexy, might have, like, hidden depths to him that he kind of hides through this, like, fuckboy exterior that I found really, like, unlikable at first. Mm-hmm. So they end up spending an entire day together. They end up at, like, a funeral for someone. They end up at a temple for someone. You find out that he used to be a wannabe basketball player, so they go to his old high school gym, and he's, like, shooting hoops for her. And so at the end of the day, yada, 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 ... they end up in a hotel room, and she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's do it. Let's knock the boots, as Neil would say. She's got and she even has condoms. She, like, brings out condoms and is product placement condoms. I'm like, look at this safe sex positivity.
Well, wait, let me just ask, do you know what year this was?
2016.
Oh, okay. So like 5 years old.
Yeah. And
no.
What happens? He all of a sudden is like, maybe I don't want to just fuck you. Like, maybe I have feelings. I don't know. So that's when they go to the high school, they shoot hoops or whatever, and then they end up making out and getting busy with it on, like, mats, like gym mats.
Sex.
And so I'm not going to say much more. I feel like I've given away, like, quite a lot of the drama, but let me just say that what I liked about it is that what hit me at first is, like, very kind of, like, basic, no feeling. I'm like, ugh, like that, like, incorrigible playboy who's basically just, like, spending the whole time being like, how can I get in your pants? That's just never interesting or fun. But by the end, I was crying on the plane. Like, I had actual emotion, and I felt really touched by these two characters. And I felt like this, like, became, like, a one-night stand that I believed could lead to the possibility of true love. And by the end, like, Yoon Yeon-suk's character was everything to me. So I went from, like, hating him so much I turned it off to crying at the end about it. And there's a very good mirroring at the very end, which shows how they were connected from the very beginning with the flying runaway basketball that hit her in the head that started the whole adventure.
See, that's cute. I like that.
And so I think you would like it in terms of it being, like, there's a sport element to it. That's fun. Mm-hmm. There's a makeup element to it. That's fun. Mm-hmm. But I think if you can just kind of, I don't think you will like the smug fuckboy. It's just not, like, your thing either. Mm-hmm. But I think if you can kind of just endure that part of the Train to Busan, that the rest of it is it's a fluffy rom-com, but I think it brings authentic feelings.
I kind of want to see Yoo Yeon-suk in that character, though.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a believable, like, I was like, I definitely hit that. Like, so yeah, I think at the end of the day, we've seen Yoon Yeon-suk as kind of like the virginal priest wannabe pediatrician with the heart of gold.
Yeah.
And, like, the hidden feelings. And we've seen him as, like, the bloody samurai with just, like, I mean, he did this right around before Mr. Sunshine, basically. Mm-hmm. But, like, you know, like that bloody, lustful, longing, hate to love you. And this, he's just, like, a soul businessy dude. But, like, he still just because it's him, he can, like, once he just got through some of, like, the, like, shit of his character that just felt cliche, there was real heart to it, I think. Mm-hmm. So.
Cool. No, I think that sounds great. I actually really like it.
Yeah. Like, if you want just a movie night of just, like, I want to knock out, like, some, like, fun Korean story. I felt like by the end, I was like, this is great. Like, this should not have been a drama. This is a perfect movie length, and I'm highly satisfied by the end.
Yeah, sometimes I do just want to watch it. I was on the plane, and I'm like, I want to watch a movie. Yeah. I just want to watch something from start to finish. That's why I watched Ballerina, and I was like, that scratched the itch of what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And so I will say the one selling point different is that there's, like, some real sex positivity.
I love that. It sounds like a nice, just, like, rom-com.
Yeah. I feel like it was a fun rom-com.
Okay. So, did Bronte tell you anything did your daughter tell you anything about Love to Hate You?
Nothing.
Okay. Did she like it?
I believe she did.
Okay.
But she's funny. She's very private.
Okay. No, that's fine. Love to Hate You is like a sleeper hit surprise. Like, it was really good. And I will say, like, the first few episodes I wasn't sure. I would say maybe because I actually felt the hero and heroine were both pretty, like, they were both kind of unlikable. And then all of a sudden you get to know them a little better and you're like, oh, they're freaking badass. So the title is, no, did I get this wrong? The title is Love to Hate You. I hope I said that. I know that's the right one, but I'm not sure what I said earlier. It's Love to Hate You.
Okay.
So one thing you need to know is, you know, the hero is Tall Yu, who we loved in past lives. He is a very famous actor. And Lia, he has a touch phobia. And I did not tell you that yet. He has
sold.
A touch phobia. And
sold.
So this is like an early spoiler. It's not, you learn this pretty quick, but based on something from his past, he basically has a touch phobia when it comes to his like female co-stars. So his female co-stars all hate him because he's very cold, but it's because he doesn't really believe in romance. And to get through any love scenes, he's considered like the king of romance, but to get through any love scenes, he basically has to take like anxiety medication.
Oh my God. Okay,
and if he's
I'm sold. I mean, already I'm sold.
Right. And if he's touched outside of that, he like has a total panic attack.
Done.
And so the heroine, I need to just say something about her because I absolutely loved her and I've never seen her in anything else. Her name is Kim Ok-vin.
Okay.
She's Yomi Ran in Love to Hate You. Oh my God. And she's one of those heroines. She's good at everything. And sometimes I just want to watch a movie where the heroine's good at everything. She can ride a motorcycle. She can fight. Like, she can literally beat up anyone. She can do pool. She can play darts. She can sing. She can dance. I mean, but she's not like annoying about it. She's like, she has like, it's written by a man. They wrote her with the confidence of a man. It's the most interesting female character. Because she's not like, that's not the reason I found her unlikable at the very, very beginning. But then I started like to freaking love her because everything she does, she's like for the girls. Mm-hmm. She's not like, oh, I'm like this, but I'm not like the other girls. It's never like that. Everything she does is for the girls. And if she hears a man talking badly about a woman or disrespecting a woman, she will find a way to like ruin his life. It's fantastic.
I mean, I'm so sold.
Yeah. So that's why I ended up loving her, because she wasn't, oh, I'm not like the other girls. Like, I can fight. I'm not like the other girls. That's not the way she's presented. And I actually looked it up. I'm like, was this written? It was written and directed by a man. But I actually really loved how they wrote a woman, and I liked how they wrote her friendship. And the romance itself, I loved. Like, the romance gets so good. So good. Tall Yu's able to really show his, like, personality in a way he couldn't in past lives because it was a much different character. And it was also a movie. I think about it a lot, because to be honest, I think it's one of my favorites that I have seen this year. And our Patreon told us over and over again to watch it, and they were right, because it really truly.
And they're always smart.
It's just like one of those dramas that you're just going to enjoy it, and it's a good romance. And yeah, the hero has a touch phobia. I realized that I never told you that, so I'm like, I have to sell Lia.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest sell that you've ever had to give me.
It's on Netflix. It's super exciting. It's not long. I forget how many episodes it is, but it's not real long, and it's just so fun, and also like funny. Fun and like just everything about it. Extremely entertaining.
I love it. And I loved him so much in past lives.
I know. And he is honestly, so like once the romance kicks in, like I'm like, really, a man wrote this? Because they wrote like a really good man in a romance.
Kind of like Fight for My Way?
He does kind of, he kind of just goes like, he's like all in. Like he's just very much like, he's so devoted to her, and it is sex positive too. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, you definitely sold me on that.
Thank you. I tried.
Okay. So I am going to talk about my Personal Weatherman, and this is a this was a manga, and it is now a JBL that you can get on Viki, and it is only 8 episodes.
Okay.
And one of the episodes was written by the creator of the entire thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So, okay. We have Mizuki Segasaki, who is a very handsome meteorologist who is the host of a popular daytime show called Everyday Weather, where he just talks about the weather on cable for like 5 hours a day.
Good for him.
His classmate is his former classmate, current roommate / Dobby the house elf, is Tanada. Tanada is an erotic manga artist. He's also very nerdy, and he is just kind of like a socially awkward, incredibly beautiful, angelically beautiful man who just wants to write, who just wants to draw people fucking in manga. I don't know what else to say about that. He lives in this really nice Tokyo apartment with Segasaki, and all of his daily life costs are covered by Segasaki. So his apartment's covered, his food is covered, and in return, Segasaki just asks for one simple thing, which is everything.
Yeah.
Tanada has to give everything to Segasaki, and Segasaki will take care of him, keep a roof over his head, and let him do his art to his art's content. But Tanada has to make the dinner. Tanada has to do the laundry. Tanada has to keep the house, and Tanada has to let Segasaki depravedly fuck the shit out of him. Because yes, my friends, this is a sex contract that they have drawn up together.
Amazing.
And the only other things I'm going to say really about this, because I feel like that should sell it enough, is that while Tanada's at home drawing, he has a bestie who's a cutie girl who's married to another successful manga artist, and she's a struggling manga artist. So all day long, they're on their pads working on their manga, and they're hooked up like with headsets to talk to each other. You know, it's like coworkers. And Tanada gets his bestie hooked on watching Everyday Weather as well. And she has no idea that that the host, Segasaki, is his, like, we don't even know, like, Tanada doesn't even know who, like, is it my boyfriend? Is it my dungeon master? I have no idea who this man is.
Right.
But she's like, oh my God, he is adorable. I love him. So she starts to watch him with she gets like little like fan banners that she holds in her hand, and like little like outfits that she wears to like stand Segasaki watching the weather.
Aww.
Not knowing that he's like her bestie's boyfriend,
Yeah.
which is pretty cute. And she's an adorable side character, and her husband's really lovely too. But Tanada, like, what you find out is that Segasaki has linked when they are going to knock boots with how the weather is. So on rainy days, they will not be having sex. They will have sex when it's sunny. You find out later why. I would say it's an interesting reason, but like they're also in the middle of a very rainy season. And so it's very conflicting for Tanada because he like hates being this kept man, and he's also like obsessed with being this kept man. It's mostly that Segasaki doesn't give a lot away.
Yeah.
And so he like comes home, eats his dinner, hangs out, bosses Tanada around, fucks him. And then Tanada's like, well, I don't know what I am to you. Like, what am I a joke to you? Like, what am I?
What are we?
Segasaki might have deep feelings, and he's just real bad at communicating. So it's just much easier and safer to create this randomly weird sex contract that you make the love of your life adhere to.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's it. That's
I
the
do
plot.
want to watch it really bad. I do. It's like on my list. It's on my list.
Yeah, and the episodes are like 23 minutes each. So, I mean, like, you could knock this out like a longer movie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's almost like a day watch for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, easily it could be. I watched it as it went live. So I watched it week in, week out. And I don't know. I mean, if it were me, I would watch 50,000 seasons of the two of them. I could never get enough. I love it.
That's awesome. Okay. Just like My Beautiful Man. What?
Yeah.
Oh, My Beautiful.
Yeah, My Beautiful Man. More, I'm going to say more dysfunctional than My Beautiful Man.
I mean, that's pretty dysfunctional too.
Yeah.
Japanese
more dysfunctional.
BLs love their dysfunction.
They do.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to my last one, which is The Worst of Evil. So I'm going to preface this by saying I have not seen I think it's only 12 episodes. I think. And I have not seen them yet. I also don't care. Because I still know enough about the drama to, like, whatever. Try to sell this to you. So, because I feel like this has elements that you don't like, but then it has a lot of elements you do like. And I think there's enough of the good elements that would, like, hold you over.
Mm-hmm.
So, the premise. So, and the cast is incredible. So you have Ji Chang-wook in truly the role of his life right now. Like, I mean, truly. And then you have Wee Ha-joon. And then you have Lim Se-mi, who is the love interest. Mm-hmm. And then also, who is, like, the sleeper surprise performance for me is Bibi. Okay. And she is the, like, singer rapper. I don't know if you remember. She had a song that I recommended on the podcast. Okay. I mean, I like a lot of her stuff. She's a solo artist, and she definitely has, like, a tough, dark image. Okay. And the role they put her in is basically, like, a Chinese drug dealer. She's in. And by drug dealer, I mean, like, high-level princess drug dealer. Okay. She's incredible. She is so good. I'm obsessed with her, like, in this role. I mean, incredible. I hope she is cast in so much more stuff. Oh, my God. She's like a bit of a villain, but you root for her, too, because she's just so freaking good. Anyway, the premise. Ji Chang-wook is Park Jun-mo, and he's a cop. And he is a cop whose dad is a drug addict. So he's never really been able to get very far in his career because he's really had a stigma put on him by, like, police officials. And he's married to a woman who all her family is, like, in the military, like is in the police. They're some sort of police detective, whatever, cop, whatever. And her dad is some, like, high-ranking guy. And so Junmo he's, like, not good enough for her family ever. And they're very clear about it. He's just not good enough for her or them. And, he's just this guy with a drug addict dad who, like, crashed their wedding. So he gets offered a role to go undercover to study Gi Chol's gang, which is the Gangnam Union, and Wee Ha-joon is Gi Chol. Okay. So Gi Chol plays he's violent, but he's smart. And kind of gets a lot of his lackeys to do the violence for him anyway, but a drug dealer, and he's great. Like, a great role for him, although Ji Chang-wook is just, he's amazing.
And you think this is his best role?
This is truly one of his best roles. He is really killing it. Like, awesome. So he is like, because he's like, okay, I'll take this job if you, like, increase my rank, like, if you give me, like, two higher ranks. Because basically he just wants to be good enough for his wife, who he loves very much. Okay. And he wants to be good enough for for her family. So motivation, straight up, okay, we get your motivation. Like, we know. So it's crazy to watch him play Junmo, who he is, like, that's him. And then the role he has to step into as Song-oh, which is, like, this violent, kind of, like, gritty, now gang member. And the best part about the drama, and you find it out fairly early on, like episode 2, so this really isn't a spoiler. Gi Chol, his first love was Park Jun-mo's wife. Her name is Lee-jong. That was his first love when they were together in church choir.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, my God. First kiss. He wanted to marry her. He promised her he would. She said, okay, I'll be by your side. And then some stuff happened with his family, and he moved away, and she never saw him again until now.
Did he look like he does now then, or was he like a child in the flesh?
No, they were in high school. They had like a
Okay.
kiss and everything. This was like a teenage romance that they
Okay.
had. He was in love with her.
Okay.
And so the messiness of these relationships with the backdrop of these like violent gang drug dealings is so good. Because you have like the gang kind of like warfare, like there's like infighting between like the Japanese, the Chinese, the Korean like gangs, and I don't love that part, but they're kind of...
Does it feel like in a historical drama, like the intrigue, the palace intrigue?
It's like a lot of surgeries. No, it's better than that. But you kind of do need the gang dealings to like prop up like what's going on in their like personal lives. But I think the way they've meshed these characters together and made their personal lives and their feelings so messy. Because then Bibi comes in or Bibi, and then she kind of has a thing for like Park Jun-mo, because who wouldn't? He's Ji Chang-wook. And obviously then you start to see Jun-mo kind of start to like lose his mind. He's like having to do things he never thought he'd have to do, but all of it is like now to like protect his wife, because now Gi Chol has reconnected with her, and she's like inserted herself in this undercover investigation, and he's now trying to save himself and her because Gi Chol can't find out the truth. I mean, Lee Ha-jun is killing it. I would say they're giving Ji Chang-wook more to do, and he is killing it. I mean, there is a scene where he basically looks like Carrie when she's covered in pig's blood. Like, he is just soaked in blood trying to protect his wife. It is crazy. So I don't know how it ends. I have 3 more episodes, but I think you would love this like dirty gangster. There's like violent. He does. I mean, Lee Ha-jun is not a good man. Or Gi Chol. He's not a good man. But then you find like a lot of what he does is just because he wants to be good enough for her. Everyone wants to be good enough for this woman. So I feel like you need to see it. Like I think I really want you to try like 3 episodes.
Okay.
And let me know what you think, because I think there's enough that you would like. I truly, truly do. And that's all.
Would you say to start this first or Love to Hate You first?
Love to Hate You. Watch Love to Hate You. Just watch it. Get it out. Like, because Love to Hate You is just so fun. Like, I think you should watch Love to Hate You.
Okay.
Be happy. Watch a few episodes of The Worst of Evil. But I'm really, really blown away with Ji Chang-wook, and he's getting a lot of attention. This is a really popular drama apparently in Korea, if I'm reading like the ratings correctly, and I can see why. But oh boy, it's violent. I mean, it's just a bunch of gang fights. It's crazy. So if you're a Ji Chang-wook fan, I almost feel like you got to do the duty to like watch this for him, like support. Like, we suffered through Sound of Magic, so
who are you cheering for more?
I don't know. This is the thing. Gi Chol is so bad, but yet, and the drama is making me unsure, because I really feel like the drama is trying to make me like sort of sympathetic to him. So I'm like, where is this going? Like, I really have no idea where it's going, and I'm very into it. Like, So I have 3 more episodes left, and honestly, anything could happen. It's crazy. So.
All right. Well, let's get into Doona, because I have realized something.
Yeah.
I did not watch Nevertheless when it came out, and I thought why, and I was like, I think because like people just were kind of generally like panning it a bit, and I just, for some reason, it just kind of like didn't make me watch it.
Right.
I need to go watch it because the same kind of stuff I felt like was panning around Nevertheless. Now that I've seen Doona, I fucking love Doona, and I feel like I keep seeing people being like meh, and I'm like, you know what? Drama of the year for me at this point. Like, maybe if I see another, like, maybe Love to Hate You, Hate to Love You. Now you've got me all messed up.
What is it? It's Love to Hate You.
Love to Hate You. Like, look, sure. Can it be unseated? Sure. But at this point, I loved Doona. And I am willing to fight for fucking Doona.
Well, see, I'm really excited. Can I just say that, like, I love Bae Suzy, obviously. And the actor, oh my gosh, what's his name that's in it?
The lead, Yong Se-jung?
Kim Se-jong?
Yong Se-jung.
Yong Se-jong. I love him too. And I've seen a couple, like, interviews with them, and their chemistry just in interviews is insane. Their chemistry is really good.
Yeah. So, look, what I was going to say, so Bae Suzy, I've watched The Startup, and I felt like she was very Mary Sue in The Startup. I know you really enjoyed her in The Startup.
I did, she was. You're not wrong.
It just wasn't for me. I was like, I mean, I didn't hate her, but I was just like, meh, like, I'm not that taken.
Right.
And I know that I think Amy enjoyed her in Uncontrollably Fond, and I haven't seen her in anything else.
She was I saw her in While You Were Sleeping, and to be honest, she was kind of still the same. Just like this charming, nice girl. Like,
so she's not charming or nice in this.
I love it.
And I liked it. I did. So, I mean, one of the first, so I'm trying to unpack, like, why don't people like it, or why do I? And be like, who's the wrong one here? And I'm going to say, obviously, wrong. I'm always the right one.
Yeah,
so.
Of course you are.
So, okay. I think that, like, here's how the plot kind of begins. The plot begins with, we have Wonjun, who is very good at math. He is a mathematical math man. And he has studied really hard, and he is going to finally go away for college. He's been commuting into the city. He has a very sick sister with a lot of health issues, and a mom, no dad.
Okay.
And so in some ways escaping feels guilty, and in some ways it feels very liberating to get away. And he is going to jump in hard. He is going to work hard. He's going to make his money, and he is going to do his little engineering degree with he's going to put his whole back into it. And so as he's driving up, his bestie is like a young entrepreneur who's not going to college, but he's like a fish restaurateur entrepreneurial genius. He's making his bank in the fish industry, like selling fish and cooking fish. And his friend is obsessed with a K-pop band or K-pop group called Dream Suite. So he loves Dream Suite. Everything in his car is the like lead vocalist for Dream Suite, whose name is Doona. And he, like, at one point, like, the Woojeong's cold, so he borrows his friend's hoodie, not realizing it's a Dream Suite hoodie. So he gets to this, like, kind of magical, like, you can't tell, like, I'm like, is it shitty or is it awesome? Probably both, house in Seoul. So it's like one of these, like, big ramshackly share houses. It's brick, it's through a gate, there's, like, many little units tucked away. And he sees a girl, very waifish, out in front, smoking a cigarette. And he's like, gosh, she looks really familiar. And the girl notices him and is, like, highly unfriendly. Like, he tries to, like, be like, hello, I'm living here too, blah, blah, blah. And she's just basically like, get the fuck out of my face. There's a few more unpleasant run-ins. And then she starts accusing him of being a stalker, basically. And he's like, what the fuck is this? Well, it turns out he's been rolling around in a Doona sweatshirt. And this is Doona.
Doona. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the meet cute.
I love it.
And we're meant to be like, somehow Woojun doesn't just want to, like, immediately bone this beautiful woman. But he doesn't. And I've read reviews where people are like, this is the most unbelievable part of the whole thing. I didn't find it unbelievable. I could see why he didn't. He's like, he reunites with his first love. And so this is another thing. People are like, oh my God, like, there's so much other love. Like, I don't know. Like, it just dragged and dragged. I enjoy it because what I don't want to give away is there were times where I genuinely didn't know where this was going to go.
Right.
And I enjoy that. I also enjoyed that the first love character was fucking written awesome, in my opinion. I thought she was a whole person. I thought she was interesting. I was rooting for her. I also liked that the two girls who like the same guy weren't shitty bitches to each other. I also, then they introduced another lead, and she was Woojun's childhood friend. She comes back into the picture as well. Oh my
God, he's popular.
She had, like, been like, I'm gonna marry you when you're like 5. So Woojun has some housemates. One is a very Neil-like dude who just lives by the rules. Like the house has rules. You must follow the rules. He does his sciences and he plays jujitsu. And that's what he does. And then the other guy just is like super horny and into psychology. And then we have these like, these three girls. So we have like a lot of these like found family coming of age dynamics as well, which I'm always a sucker for. And so people are like, oh my God, these other characters just like take up space and they're not interesting. I was interested in all of them. I liked all of them. I like them being around each other. I like them hanging out. Like, are they always doing a lot? No, but it didn't feel like such slice of life where it's like, I don't feel like coming of age necessarily feels a slice of life because they're all kind of just like fucking shit up and making mistakes or fucking each other and making mistakes or not fucking each other and wishing they were and making mistakes. And then you layer in like kind of like the pop star among all of them. So the whole reason there's a pop star just kind of randomly in this house is because, and this is not a spoiler, this happens like at the very beginning. She has a major anxiety breakdown on stage. She's like, I cannot sing. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And they were basically like, you fucking go out there and do it. And she can't do it. And so she's on like a hiatus from the company essentially, where they're basically have been like, we're gonna put you here, park you here, and we will deal with you when we deal with you. So she's almost being like punished for having had like a major anxiety issue. Yeah. And so she's just kind of like in the share house. The company's paying for it. But she's not in like her fancy digs. Like she's just kind of like there. No one's taking her calls. The group is like recording music without her. She just doesn't know what's happening. And she's kind of like lost basically. And so people are like, she's like such a manic pixie dream girl. I'm like, no, she's not. She's a fucking K-pop idol who had anxiety, dealt with a system that was like inherently unkind, and then has been like kind of like disused, but also isn't sure if her time's truly over or not. And she also has like anger issues and sadness issues and all these other things. So for me, I just felt like she was just like an imperfect heroine who was going through some shit.
Yeah.
And when people were like, oh, she's like such a manic pixie dream girl, I'm like, I don't really feel like she was. And I don't feel like she fully did like an I'm not like the other girls kind of thing too. Like she's kind of bitchy and pissy. People are stalking her still, like if they can find out who she is. And the reason that he isn't immediately just besotted with her doesn't surprise me because he's fairly practical and contained. He has feelings for other people in the world. It's not like he just sees a hot girl and is immediately just like sprung and like horny for her. He's kind of like, God, you're kind of a lot. Like you're kind of like hard to deal with. Like I feel like there's like a real slow burn chemistry between them that felt believable to me.
Oh, yeah.
The ending is very open-ended.
Okay.
I have my views on it. I think we should all watch it and we can deep dive it.
Okay.
I took it to be, I mean, because people are like, is it an HEA? Is it not an HEA? And so here's what I'm going to say is, theoretically, it's open to interpretation. I've seen plenty of people who do not think it's an HEA.
Okay.
I personally don't understand how anyone could walk away with that as their takeaway.
I see. Now basically, are you telling me that there's like an HEA controversy? I have to watch it now.
Yeah, so people are like, absolutely not. You can convince me. I'm like, if you just look at like, I can't go through the points, but I feel like there's enough points in the drama that point to this inherently being an HEA.
Okay. That
I was surprised at the end. Like at the end I was like, huh, like what an interesting ending. And then I was like, God, I really like that ending. I'm like, that was like you liked it. I loved it. And I thought it was a very like subtly beautiful ending that left me like, I had no doubt it wasn't an HEA. Bronte had freaked me out because my daughter was like, you're going to be so upset at the end. I'm like, oh my God. Ooh. So I was watching it like, oh shit, I think it's not going to be an HEA.
Right.
And then I've had listeners be like, no, it's totally not an HEA. What are you talking about? And I'm like, so yeah, it's a big controversy.
So it's only 9 episodes, I see.
Yeah. So, and they're like 1 hour. They're like 1 hour 14.
Okay. I just, I did want to watch this, but now you have me even more interested.
So I'm going to say it's got like some slice of life-y vibes, but I'm going to say it's more like just a new adult story. I think that there's a second lead romance that is very, like, there's not a lot of time given to it. One of the best second lead romances I've ever seen. Like, I am obsessed with the second lead romance. Okay. And there is another female character who I just think is of love, like the best second lead. Like one of the best second leads I feel like I've ever seen. Like I felt like in the end, they felt like very whole people to me that were doing their best, that were trying to work on communication skills for the developmental age that they were. And you layer in some of like the fucking craziness of K-pop, and I'm hooked. Like,
I am excited. I wanted to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I have to once I finish The Worst of Evil, because I have 3 more episodes, and I need to get this done and see how it ends. I think I'm gonna watch Doona next. Like, I do think that's my next pick, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to discuss.
Like, I've seen, even by the generous standards of K-dramas, Doona is a drawn-out affair. Or supporting characters don't get much of a look in. Not that they're a particularly exciting bunch.
Aww.
Or the notion that a young single male student wouldn't be interested in a dazzling K-pop star seems more far-fetched than the show's basic premise. I just disagree with the entire thing.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like that, yeah. That's a bad take, in my opinion. Did a man like that?
And so I can see, I guess, because she's beautiful. But you know what? Like, it's not like the other characters are, like, hideous hags. And it's not like they don't have anything going for them. Like, they're, like, bright young college students that are gorgeous and awesome. And when you've got somebody who's in, like, a mental health spiral and kind of an asshole fundamentally, like, as a human being, an asshole, I can get if you're not like, yes, immediately I want some of that.
Right.
You're kind of like, holy shit, that's a lot. You're very beautiful, but you're kind of crazy. And that's, like, maybe too much for me.
And that's believable to me. That would be. Yeah.
Like, he's not even, like, remotely considering it.
You sold me on Doona.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go to bat for Doona, and it's made me decide. I'm watching Nevertheless because I have a high tolerance for messiness and poor decision making in college age characters.
You do. You have a higher tolerance than me, but I do like messy characters. I really do.
Yeah, I like messy characters too, and I like when I don't fully know where a romance is going, and I also don't need my characters to only love one character. I think I still go back to the fact that when I first wrote my very first book, if anyone ever wants to look at it, that's not me trying to make a sales pitch, but there's a very important reason I mention it, is that I had it written originally that I wanted my heroine to have had kind of like a fuck buddy before she met the hero.
Right.
And my editor was like, you have to take out, like, you have to make him not the fuck buddy.
Right.
Because she can only catch feelings for the heroine. This was my first book contract with, like, a New York publisher. Like, I was kind of like, okay, fine, I'm going to do whatever you say.
Right.
But I've always regretted it because I was like, it didn't make as much sense. Because people, like, not everyone. Look, I'm going to normalize, like, plenty of people don't. And you might be listening in a country where, like, this definitely doesn't happen. But, like, in our country, from my experiences growing up, it was normal to have a hookup culture. And you would, like, to different degrees for people, but it certainly would be unusual to be like the first boy you ever kissed was the last boy you ever kissed. Like, that would not have been considered a common outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you have to, like, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. I think Doona sounds great, and I agree with you on all that. So I am excited. I think like I said, I think too, after The Worst of Evil, Leah, I'm gonna need, like, it's okay if it's, like, quiet or it's like a slice.
And I might be okay for The Worst. So I think I'm watching True Beauty, which I was gonna try to sell you on, but I'm not in this episode. So I'm watching True Beauty. Then I think I'm gonna do Love to Hate You, and then I think I'll watch Worst of Evil.
You'll be okay to watch Worst of Evil then. I mean,
I still have to watch A Time Called You, which I have sitting on my phone that I just haven't gotten to. So when I was traveling, I just was like, I realized that was a horrible, because I was like, this feels like a show that I'm going to be confused at from what everybody said, and it's going to take a while to come together.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the mental bandwidth, just like sitting on a plane. I started rewatching Goblin episodes, to be honest, because I'm like, I need something like when I'm traveling on an airplane, for the most part, I need to have like kind of like brain dumbing things.
Yeah, I watched Ballerina because it was just like, I knew it was like an easy movie, and then I was watching The Worst of Evil on the way home. I had to watch 2 episodes, and I'm gasping, squirming, almost crying. I'm like, I went through every range of emotion in like the 2 hours I watched The Worst of Evil. It's just a lot. Like, Worst of Evil to me feels like a constant battery of like tense, like, stress and emotion, but I like it. That's why I'm like, Doona, I think, is a perfect thing to watch after it. But A Time Called You, I totally forgot. I should have sold that to you because that drama is so fucking good.
No, I will definitely watch it. I just have to figure out when in my watch list, because I want to do that for the pod.
I get it. Yeah, we will cover it for the pod because Amy and I need to talk about it. So, okay. Well, that was fun. And we covered a lot of dramas, which is always good. I always like... Because I feel like a lot of people have, like, favorites. And sometimes even if we just, like, mention them on the pod, it makes them happy. So I'm glad that we were able to cover a lot.
Me too. And I feel like all the ones I wrecked, I stand behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want to come at me about Doona, I welcome it. Because I feel I feel hurt when I see so much, like, shitty menace. I'm like, I want to watch it again.
I'm excited. Honestly, it's going to be my next watch after The Worst of Evil. Because again, I can't watch any more violence after The Worst of Evil.
Yeah, I think I might even go back to like being like Miss A or something. I'm like, I want to stand base Susie now. That's how much I like her. And they actually, and then what I sent you was like the music video of Dream Suite. Like they made some like musical content of the group as well.
She looks, and she's, how old is she?
Let's look her up because she's not like crazy young. I mean, she's not old, but she's like.
But she's 29. And she's playing like a 21-year-old.
No, I'd say she's playing like early 20s though.
Okay.
But yeah, she definitely like
she's not old.
She's a 94 liner. So I mean, next year she's gonna hit 30.
She's freaking beautiful. I think she gets prettier. Like
I think she gets prettier too.
I actually really like the Doona haircut.
But I like both her and IU's choices to play less likable characters. I think it's a smart choice for them. Both. Because I think they both have very, like, cute images. I think Bae Susie's more feels like the all-American, except the all-Korean. Like, I feel like she is much, like, and IU feels like a darling.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Nana, who plays, she was in Mask Girl, she was in Into the Ring, she plays these like
how old is Nana? Because I feel like she seems older to me. Is she like a baby too?
Okay. She was born in 91.
Okay, so she's early 30s.
She is 32, and she is stunning. I mean, she comes on the screen in Mask Girl, and you think she like looks unreal. She's just so beautiful. So, okay, well, I think that's all we have for today. Yeah. So, thank you for listening. Let us know what you think about the dramas. Fight Lia in the comments.
Yeah, totally fight me. I'm gonna get you.
Let us know if there's if you watch any of these, because we want to hear about it. So yeah. So next week we will be back, all three of us, correct? Yay! So look forward to that. The gang will be all back together.
And it'll be November.
Crazy.
Wild.
Crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, annyeong!
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!